Hello, welcome back to my RP-1 playthrough on hard. So, uh, we did our suborbital X-plane flight last episode. Um, the price for air launching these things is fairly high. It's not great. I would like it to be cheaper. Uh, so we'll have to eat some of that cost. But oh well. We do have ComSat, and we can go ahead and fly another one of these. I think as soon as we have Glenn Wells back, and then, all right, so 18 days of leave, and then another 10 days. That's interesting. There we go. So we have to wait a little while. Okay, here we go. Perfection. Save, accept the contract. We have to go up to 85 kilometers. Pretty sure we can do that. Uh, we'll do 950, because I'm just not quite certain that 1,000 is correct. We'll find out. Pick up the gear. increase our speed, and then we'll go into a zoom climb. Okay. Let's go. $55 degrees. This time all of our science experiments are ready. I think the tailplanes on this are actually maybe a little small, now that I think about it, but we don't really lack for pitch authority, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. Hey, squirrel. Yep, zoomies indeed. We are going for a fairly high suborbital shot above the sky. Okay, so not quite as high as before, but we also have a bit higher horizontal velocity, so it'll be fine. No, Mr. Bond, the cockpit is rated for as high as you want it to go. as we saw last time, the reentry on this was actually pretty mild, and we got a skip out of it. So, uh, so I'm not sure if it's Lake or Jake, but either way, real solar system is responsible for changing the planets and atmospheres and all that stuff. Realism Overhaul is responsible for changing part performance, and RP-1 is responsible for the career gameplay. Lake Hill, okay. Okay, we passed Apogee. Down we come. And let's not have quite so much side slip. Quite so much alpha. Yeah, the side slip we're fine on. The alpha, I don't really want to be above 45 degrees. Yeah, 39 degrees seems fine. Hanging out around 40 degrees. There, that corrected our side slip. Okay, so we're most of the way home. I probably could have done 1,000 kilometers pretty easy, but I want to see how the skip goes before we really make that judgment call. Okay. Now we have enough air, we don't need RCS anymore. We'll maintain 30 degrees alpha as we come in. And pretty soon, yeah, look at how that's decreasing. So we don't need a 10G pullout. We can be a little bit better than that. We'll stick to 5Gs. Okay, now let's minimize our loss of velocity and fly a nice ballistic arc up past 40 kilometers again. Highly successful flight. Alright, so we're not that far away if we can see the Cape. Okay, high altitude flight experiment is still running. Oh, I see what the problem is. Sample size was increased, but the rate was not increased. Yeah, that's the problem. All right, so it looks like we did this pretty well. We're going to go under 40 kilometers, not much above 650. Okay. Let's come around and line up. At least a little bit. Okay. Okay, we'll bleed off speed real fast. Pop speed brakes. Drop the flaps. Got a lot of drag up here. I guess we have to go around. Whee! Oh yes, let's go back to reasonable G limits. So my dynamic pressure is decreasing from a max of like 7 kilopascals, so my speed brakes are not going to explode. It's going to be okay, unlike most of the other times. Okay. Landing at 50 meters per second. My goodness. This thing really, really, really has a low stall speed. Maximal was absolutely right. I was way not overcautious last time when I was landing it. Oh, hey Maximal, you're in the chat. Yeah, for once I remembered to get on the dev stream, the dev channel. But yep, no, you were 100% correct. Glenn got another 120 days. We got more science.
Don't jump.
Hey, I did not jump. It was I was fairly expectant. Yeah, no, you were 100% correct, and I was just being a scaredy cat. I'd basically, because perversely the other plane has a much, I don't know, maybe I just wasn't careful. Maybe I was, I don't know. Maybe I could have landed the other thing slower as well. But this thing for sure. It also, it's got the big old flaps. That makes a difference as well.
Well, this time you weren't flying it using atmospheric autopilot. Looks like you were flying with a joystick, right?
Nope, I was using mouse aim flight as usual. Absolutely no
Okay.
change from anything else. I do this weird thing where I fly with AA on and mouse aim flight on, and you'd think the PIDs would fight each other, but atmospheric autopilot generally damps down some of the PID jitter from mouse aim flight.
Oh, okay, interesting.
And it works pretty well to have them both on.
Yeah.
All right, so let's reset the cockpit. I mean, I guess technically what I could do is I could just sim this in FAR and see what FAR claims my alpha would be. at a given speed. But um, we've now established that we can land that thing at under 100 knots. So
Yeah, I mean, I was just watching your last approach when you're landing at like 75 or 80, and your angle of attack was still really low at those
yeah,
velocities. So it seemed
yeah,
like you could do much better.
yeah. Like it's fine to have 5 degrees alpha on landing. Like it's totally fine. Also, like
Expected even.
yeah, expect yes, unless oh, so that's the other thing is with the sky streak, I was being pretty careful just because the danger of tail strike was higher.
Enough.
Um, all right, let's wait 47 minutes for it to be refueled. Um, okay, so now we'll launch our ComSat.
Also, possibly as a stubbier and lighter craft, it did worse at maintaining its momentum. So yeah, you'd fall out of the sky more easily.
Yeah. Yeah, plausible. Like vaguely tempted to try it, but instead let us actually do this. Let us not go down a rabbit hole. Okay, so I accepted the contract. Didn't I? Yes. Deadline is Christmas Day. Interesting. Um, inclination 38 degrees. Okay, sure thing.
Patrol having plenty of speed brake helps a lot with those approaches. Being able to bleed off
Yes.
speed at on demand.
Yeah. No. The best thing that ever happened to my airplane flying was actually giving them huge honking speed brakes. Which, like, honestly, you have to. It's another one of those things where you kind of have to make up for some of Farr's unrealism there. Uh,
Is that?
bec- Go ahead.
I thought it was mostly making up for the fact that we don't actually fly glide paths the way like a pilot would, knowing the
Oh, it makes up for that
appropriate.
too, for sure. But what I'm thinking of it makes it like Farr, I believe, makes assumptions about everything being in laminar flow.
Ah, okay.
And a bunch of the drag that you get from actually deploying a speed brake is that it breaks you out of laminar flow and it's a turbulent flow. And since in Farr's case, it's a change in surface area. There's a lot of wetted area drag, but it doesn't kick you out of laminar flow. That's also incidentally why using payload fairings doesn't decrease your drag losses as much as you'd expect, and sometimes can increase them. And it's because uh, ordinarily, if you launched a satellite without a payload fairing, there's all those little wires and things and nooks and crannies for the air to get caught in, and like your eye, it's incredibly turbulent flow. But Farr thinks that everything is laminar flow, at least as I understand it.
Mm. I'm not sure that's that. I mean, I get that that's true for far, but I'm not sure if that's what's causing the issues or like causing the approaches to be different. Because I mean,
Oh
your
no, it
plan
doesn't cause
is
the approaches to be different. I'm saying like we have to use larger speed brakes than you'd get away with in real life.
oh, okay, sure.
That's all that was about.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Okay. I have no idea. Oh, it reset everything again.
Although you think because far as using a wing, a wing curve model, it's not actually caring about any flow when it comes to wings. There's just nothing there to care about. That and speed brakes are wings essentially. That it should be able to model, like the massive drop off in lift and increase in drag as you change the angle of attack too high.
So it does change lift there, but the issue is like it doesn't break. It's simulating it as two different wings is the problem. It's
Yeah,
not noticing that it's
should.
breaking the airflow over the main wings.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's
Um,
still makes sense.
but like the drag side, which I think is still voxel based regardless, is the thing that I was thinking about, and that is always laminar flow, even when you would expect it to be turbulent flow. And like that is the issue there. Well, crud. Um, I don't think I have things. Yeah, I'll have to reinvent my launch profile from scratch because. Oh, no, I do have it. Okay, good. 50, 70, 250. 50, 70, and I think actually we don't want 2. I think we want 0, 50. Or I guess 1 to give us a little bit of margin for time to spin up the solid. Okay, let's go. And this is using Lamont's just released fixed MechJeb, so hopefully, I mean, we're not using PVG, so we're not going to get the blank thing, but it should have fixed fixed the blank issues. Oh boy. Okay. Well, that was nice while it lasted. Let's have range blow the. Um, oh, I did. I don't think I bounded to anything. That's a shame. Range has blown the vehicle. Rip. Well, we still have 6 months to launch this thing, so we can wait another 90 days and try again. And by that point, we'll be ready to do another one of these X-Planes High contracts. At some point soon, we have to think about how are we doing on the launch pad. 243 days. All right. So I'm going to leave this money because I might need to rush build some stuff. And I'll start the next one building. At least it did not. At least it did not have an engine shut off a few seconds into flight and destroy the pad. That would have been very bad. Okay, we've got the Altair now, although we're still going to use the earlier solid rocket stage. Let me just check the timeline on this. "42 days, and we're about to wait 69 days, so that seems fine. Roll that out. Oh, Jess Holmes is still in training and will be in training for another 2 weeks. So I guess Glenn will get to fly 3 of these before, well, 4, given the first was an engine out. 4 of these flights before Joyce gets to fly any of them. Okay. Dawn launch. Make sure that, yes, that's fine. Engage autopilot. Here we go.
Rocket didn't kick out this time. What should you do to fix it?
Sorry?
Oh, sorry. Last time your rocket wobbled off the pad.
Oh, huh. Not sure why this was different. Okay, so we got a bunch of data. So hopefully we'll be fine this time. Although the S3D is not a notably reliable engine. Oh, that's interesting. I gotta fix that. The exhaust is apparently going right through the vernier. Oops. Didn't notice that particular problem.
Oh, I thought you only had one vernier.
Nope, I got 2. Success thus far. Oh, interesting. I missed that. No wonder this thing took so long to build. It's got science
Oh,
experiments and solar panels. Oh well. That's a waste.
it's an awful lot to keep track of. And a lot of it is buried in that menu for the avionics.
Hmm?
It's the thinking there's so much that you have to keep track of that's just in a menu for avionics.
Yeah. I mean, this I would have noticed something was wrong just by the fact that it had solar panels, but I didn't even look inside the fairings. I just loaded my old rocket.
Mhm.
All right. So azimuth is 64 degrees. Pitch of -1. And then we'll spin up when I guess there's about a minute left to apogee. Okay. I waited until exactly at apogee to fire because the pitch angle is wrong. We're already pitched up enough that I don't want my perigee to be too low. But it's fine.
Yep, makes sense.
We're putting enough delta V in this that it's basically fine. Okay. That's interesting. Huh, it had a performance loss. That was very interesting. But we still had enough performance to be within our required parameters, so that's good. Pretty sure yeah. Yeah, it was just a waste to fly those experiments. Let's get our pitch zeroed out. Okay. Contract complete. There we go. Where are we with tech? We're getting 59 orbital rocketry, 85 days. Then we'll be able to make a Titan, give or take. Okay, well, the cost is going to change enough that we're going to lose the 2% of progress we made so far, but oh well.
The addable science parts to avionics, is that a separate part module, or is that all part of the avionics part module for at this point?
That's not anything to do with the avionics part module. That's 100% Kerbalism. It's just that the configurable experiments are only added to procedural avionics, but you could add them to and to cockpits and to capsules and various other things. It's all just handled in the RO Kerbalism configs. Basically, I think you tag parts with something, and then that configuration thing will be added.
Yep, makes sense.
Yeah, we lost our 2 days of progress. Oh well. On the
Still
plus
faster
side,
to finish.
it's almost a full 10 days faster. And the other thing that I want to check is, oh, that's the other thing that I need to fix. Is this needs to get rotated by 90 degrees. All right, and now the exhaust is in a sane place. And then this Interesting. Actually, I think I'll keep it like that because then we have less chance of... I don't know. Let's see. Is the collider... No, the collider's not overlapping, so that's not the problem. Okay. Now we're all set. Okay, so how are we doing? Half a year until the pad's operational. I think I've learned my lesson with taking contracts early in hard mode. Although this does give me a year and a half, so maybe it's fine?
I mean, that advance is worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think it is. That advance is pretty good. So's the lunar orbiter advance.
Oh, also a year and a half.
Yeah. But the issue is I'll have to tool 10-foot tanks, and I will have to tool yeah, so tool 10-foot tanks. I have to unlock the LR91, which is going to be brutal. Whatever other upgrades I need. My recollection was about, and I guess I could find out how much, what the tooling for 10-foot tanks is. $40K. Right. Oh, I don't have that upgrade yet. Guess I won't get it till 59. You have got to be kidding me. That's that's pretty bonkers. Feel like the LR 791 and the LR 7989 105 should probably share more ECM. I don't think so. What does Oh, that's nice. Okay. Yeah, it branches off from the Phase 3 turbopump. So it only shares 30K with the other engine line, which means, yeah, by making the LR105 not airlight, we added 100K funds, basically, uh, to the cost of reasonable engines in the U.S. campaign.
But I mean, you're playing hard, so you got to make compromises.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could just make a. I guess there's no particular reason that I couldn't make a drop booster launch vehicle
There you go.
using an LR105. I just really hate parallel staging. I really hate parallel staging.
I mean, that's true, but you did a medium campaign where you did the standard, like, historical-ish looking rockets for most of the
Yeah,
game.
but that's
It's your
because they look
opportunity to
good.
get crazy.
I mean,
I'm of the opinion that anything that works well is inherently good looking because it ends up working well. Function over form.
yeah, although, so DK Brown has a good line where he says,
I mean, to some extent.
yeah, yeah, like he says basically, um, so there's the saying, if it looks right, it is right. And his version of that is, if it is right, it will be eventually seen to look right. This was in the context of like William White's battleships and the Victorian Navy, um, and how handsome they were. But basically, like that the Majestic class in retrospect looked right because it was an excellent performer. Um,
I mean, that seems like it might be serendipitous. Because some of those early dreadnoughts were really ugly, but clearly outperformed pre-dreadnoughts outperformed every other ship on the sea before that, right?
I mean, it is certainly true that like some of those Russian and French ships around 1904 were interesting, um, but they also had some severe issues.
I'm just looking at the Majestic right now, and it looks like looks closer to something that I'd see floating in a bathtub than like the World War II battleships.
Right, but see, that's because by now you're used to well-performing battleships look like Io or Hood or Bismarck or Yamato or whatever.
I guess so. That's true.
They don't look like the King George V's, though. Which is
Not sure if that's
sort of unfair, but like those turrets never really worked right.
okay. Let's say that the Zumwalt like actually had its guns working and had production numbers to justify its cost. It would potentially be a great ship, and it still looks dumb.
Yeah, but try again in like 30 years, and maybe it wouldn't look dumb if it actually performed well. Like that's the argument.
I guess so. I don't know. I think there are potentially there are dumb looking things that still work well. But yeah, you're right. I mean, humans acclimatize themselves to like if we're seeing a fleet of those things, yeah, they look majestic just because it's a fleet of those things.
Yep. Huh? Really? That's that's a 9.5 minute burn time? Well, huh. Well, that's kind of bad. It's kind of bad because um, basically I would need longer boosters than my core.
That's okay. I mean, when you're thinking of drop boosters, the shuttle is shorter than the external tank and the
Yeah,
solid rocket
but the
boosters.
external tank isn't shorter than the side boosters.
But I mean, it still looks like what's where you end up with where there's the thing that's piggybacking on the booster.
Yeah, side mount is its own kind of weird.
Yep.
Side mount is very much its own kind of weird. But
You could also then stick with two 8-meter cores and not two 10-meter yet.
no, that's what I'm talking about. Like I'm
Oh, yeah,
just
sure.
like 8 meter booster. Sorry, 8 foot boosters, 8 foot core. The 8 foot core has
Yeah.
to be about half the height of the boosters.
Yep.
That's just wrong. That's deeply wrong. Yeah, so I find none of these options acceptable at the moment. I mean, I guess the other thing maybe that I could do is I could do something silly like use multiple Aeginas, multiple XLR-81s.
Was there never a proposal for the Atlas where the it wasn't a drop a 1.5 stage rocket, where it was a separate what we're looking at now?
No, as far as I know, there was never such a proposal.
Hmm. Or is that just because it had to fit inside of a silo?
I mean, I think it was more just like Convair was fundamentally uninterested in uh, anything but a unified state. Like basically, so the balloon tank launch vehicle was proposed as early as 1947 by Douglas for the Navy, and
Mm-hmm.
Convair for, I think, had planned it as an outgrowth of High Rock, although High Rock itself wasn't. So basically, they were committed pretty early on to the balloon tank approach. And if you're committed to a balloon tank approach, you obviously can't strap anything to it because you'll rupture the tank. It doesn't have the strength.
Yeah, I guess I'm just surprised that during the days where air lighting was not something they thought they could do, that something like this was not proposed somewhere.
I mean, probably one of the other contractors proposed something like it. Um, Although, in fairness, like it wasn't. I think it was less that they thought that they couldn't airlight, and more that they thought there were more risks than they wanted to associate with the defense of the free world.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because, I mean, they'd airlit whack corporals off V2s in like 1946. Like they knew they could airlight some things.
Yeah, but I imagine they already knew that they could airlight hypergolics.
Yeah, but like it's not. I mean, then why not have conventional tankage on a hypergolic upper stage? Like you could totally have done that for a missile.
Yep.
Yeah, and like Titan designed at the same time was designed absolutely with the intention of airlighting a Kerolox stage. Incidentally, so I have no idea whether this is true, but I wonder whether part of the confidence there was because Aerojet had already done it, dating back to Bumper Whack.
That's not an airlit Kerlock stage.
No, 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 had airlit it, period.
Yeah.
Although, in fairness, like reaction motors had airlit the XLR-11 a ton by that point.
That is true.
I mean, not in vacuum, but yeah, I mean the difference was that like the whack was essentially airlit in vacuum. Except they realized that vacuum was bad, so they uh, they stretched like a little thin rubber diaphragm over the nozzle, such that when it lit, it actually lit with air in the nozzle. And
Yeah,
then
that seems like a reasonable solution.
yeah, yeah, turns out that that works pretty well. Um, yeah, I'm trying to think what to do here. Like what I could do. Is the reliability on that thing?
Yeah, when I was
96. Sorry?
I was using kind of the same thing in RP-1 at some point when I was drop launching some aircraft that had an engine that wouldn't airlight, so I just wrapped a fairing around it and then lit the engine and had to drop the fairing.
Oh, yeah, for dynamic pressure reasons.
Yep.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's cool that it works.
Yeah, pretty neat. All right, so basically, I think I have to suck it up and get the LR91, which is pretty expensive and uses. So basically, I'll be using all of the advance on tooling and engine unlocks.
Yeah, so you can wait till you're ready to start building the rocket.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, if I take the orbiter contract, then I can spend the rest of it on points. And I think I can get away with impactor and orbiter contracts at the same time. Um, I don't. Hmm. I'm thinking about how to do this. Like, I don't think I can. I, I don't think I can get away with doing a single launch for both. Maybe I can. Because, like, 40 kilograms worth of impactor is fairly heavy. Uh, in addition to whatever I'm needing for orbit. Maybe I can get away with doing both. But the TLDR is that I probably should wait.
I mean, how caveman is this rocket or this orbiter going to be?
Uh, I mean, it'll basically be Pioneer able of a science core, a bunch of solar panels, and a baby sergeant.
Okay.
But given that it's having a guided injection, I can align rather than having to do what was planned for Pioneer Able, and which you and other people do, where you provide enough delta V on the TLI that you can be assured that the alignment for TLI is the same once you get to the moon as the alignment for retrofire.
Mhm.
And it was very interesting reading through the Pioneer Able mission report on the trajectory design, where they were talking about the trajectory constraints for a direct injection to the moon that also provided for the angle of retrofire being the same as the injection angle.
Mm. Well, if you're going to do that, why not? I mean, should be able to do the orbiter and the impactor at the same time. Just use your TLI stage as the impactor. So set it up, like
Because
you're
it won't have electricity.
um. So what you do is you
Oh, I decouple the
set.
avionics.
Yes, exactly. And you leave a
Okay,
science
that.
core on the.
Yeah, I guess it's true that yeah, I might be able to swing just carrying 40 extra kilograms if I'm doing it. I mean, because I can probably get.
Your science cores are still 40 kilograms.
No, the requirement for impact is 40 kilograms.
Well, if you're using, so you decouple your avionics, you still would have your tank and
Yes, no, I
and
understand that
yeah.
suggestion, although I'm basically unwilling to design a TLI stage that involves decoupleable avionics. Um, but I was
Well, I
thinking,
mean,
like,
in real,
I probably will actually have the capacity for a super light orbiter and another 40 kilograms. So I think it'll be fine either way.
okay, fair enough. I
Um,
would just say, like, yes, in the real world, you would definitely not decouple your avionics, but you would be able to just shut off your avionics completely and never reboot them.
yes,
So
that
there's
is
no
certainly
no
true.
point. So let it
Yeah, it's
freeze,
actually
whatever.
it's worth um, it might be worth us adding a feature where you could basically do that, where you could permanently downgrade your near Earth avionics to a science core.
For this
Because
one narrow situation, yeah, why not?
I mean, not just this situation. Like also, if you're so say you're doing a camera mission, right?
Hmm.
Um, you don't really want to carry a separate science core, and you
Yeah,
probably want to reuse your various other things that are actually on the the orbital insertion stage. So yeah, I think it'd be a useful feature.
yep,
Although it will probably lead to a bunch of people bricking their probes. So useful feature with some risk. But I guess if we have a dialogue saying, "Are you sure you want to do this?" then there's higher
yeah.
likelihood of that being okay. Um,
Or you could have a two-stage toggle even within the menu.
yeah, could do it. Could do it
Paul.
that way too. Yeah, cool. All right. Well, I'm starting to droop, so I think I'm going to call it quits for now. But thanks for coming by. It's always a pleasure, and hopefully I'll catch you tomorrow night.
Yep. Talk to you later. Bye.
And thanks for everybody coming by and watching, and I'll see all of you again tomorrow night as well. Night.